Aloha, Crime Talk aficionados. We are coming to you from Hawaii this week. We have a great show for you. First, Karen Reed trial. Deliberations continue. A horrific death of a young lady in Houston. Alec Baldwin, is he going to get his case dismissed? Will someone be charged for the death of Matthew Perry? We have a story of a judge gone wild. Sarah Boone's telling the judge, hey, it's not me, it's all them. And then finally, our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it.
All right, lawyer.
Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do, leave me a comment below, and remember, you can always listen to us on any of your favorite podcasting apps, and remember to hit that little bell so that you receive notifications of when we go live or put up new content. Now, we are bringing you the verdict watch for the Karen Reed trial, so it is live. It is up. You should go there, wait for it to go live when they have a verdict, if they reach a verdict. All right. Before we get to the docket for June 26, 2024, a couple of things. As I told you last week, I was supposed to start a homicide trial, all right? And it was supposed to start a jury selection on Friday and then start on Tuesday. So I still had a court appearance on Monday. I did that on Monday. And Tuesday morning, the lovely Miss Kristen and I jumped on a plane to beautiful Kona, Hawaii. We are staying here at the lovely Four Seasons Hotel. We were here many years ago. Absolutely loved it. Probably one of the few places in the world where you can truly, actually relax. And that's what I intend to do. But I enjoy bringing the show to you every day, so I am going to make my best efforts to do that as well. And since it's 4 hours behind, it's only almost 9 o'clock here in the morning, and I feel like I've been up for hours. So let's go ahead and get to the show. First, Karen Reed. Now, the jurors had a question, and the judge had to admonish Miss Reed this morning because she was making a face during a discussion over some key documents in the case as the jury continued to deliberate. Now, a video feed of the proceedings showed that Miss Reed, obscured by her defense lawyer who was standing at the time, had been addressing the judge. All right, not a big deal. Then all of a sudden, the judge stopped and said, "Excuse me, is this funny, Miss Reed?" The back of Reed's head could be seen shaking back and forth. The judge then responded, "All right, we're done."
All right, excuse me, this is funny, Ms. Reed? All right, we're done.
All rise for the court, please.
Okay, it wasn't clear what prompted the judge to reprimand Miss Reed, although it believes the judge apparently thought or believed that she was doing something that thought that this whole proceedings were not serious. Now, I think it's clear the judge does not particularly like Miss Reed. I don't think that the judge particularly likes the whole great grand conspiracy defense that the defense has come up with. But the judge is allowing them to go forward with it. But I think based upon some of the judge's rulings in the case, particularly throughout the trial, she was going to shut down what she could. But it's up to the jury now. Obviously, if Miss Reed is convicted, she does face the possibility of life in prison for the alleged running down of her boyfriend, former police officer John O'Keefe. We will continue to have that jury watch. I think Frank even has the timer up going, so you know exactly what is taking place there. It'll bring it to you live. And I don't know. I think Miss Reed shouldn't be so confident. Although I think our poll suggests that 3/4 of our viewers believe that she is not guilty. Well, unfortunately, for Miss Reed, the only thing that really matters are those 12 jurors sitting in her jury box. They got to see her demeanor the entire time. How did she act? It's so important when you go to trial to have your client sit there. I'm telling you, I had a client once. Everybody in the courtroom thought we won the case. Spoke to the jurors. They hated the client. The way he reacted, his grimacing, the way he looked at witnesses on the witness stand. People didn't like him. That's half the battle when you go to court. All right, next on the docket, a horrific case. Now, we'll give these guys the presumption of innocence, but let me tell you this. This young lady, Jocelyn Nungaray, family had to hear how she fought with her dying breaths as two migrants raped and strangled her before disposing of her body in a Houston bayou, for goodness sakes. Now, Jocelyn's body was found floating in a creek near Houston, near her home, after she was lured under a bridge and then allegedly assaulted for 2 hours by Jonan Jose Rangel Martinez. This guy's 21, and Franklin Jose Pina Ramos. He's 26. Now, this all happened last week. Now, while prosecutors and the police both believe that the young girl was in fact assaulted, the alleged assailants have not been charged with sexual assault yet, as they are still awaiting the results of the rape kit. Now, the district attorney down there in Harris County says that the evidence is clear that the sexual assault likely happened, but since neither defendant has actually admitted that, they'll have to use circumstantial evidence. It won't be so circumstantial if they have DNA swabs and things of that nature from the young girl. Anyway, they're waiting for the test results, and they'll see then if capital murder charges can be upgraded to one where they are death penalty eligible, according to the district attorney. And if the charge includes these sex crimes, the prosecutors will seek the death penalty. Now, during a somewhat dramatic scene yesterday, Jocelyn's family member shouted "murderer" to Rangel Martinez, who was reported to have actually two children of his own, ages 5 and 12. Now, the mother yelled in Spanish, "I hope they kill your children," as the defendant walked out of the courtroom. Now, during the courtroom proceedings, prosecutors alleged that Martinez Rangel had bite and scratch marks on his arm, and he also shaved his facial hair after the murder to avoid being discovered. Now, the district attorney and the lead prosecutor said that Pina Ramos told police he reportedly tried to convince Rangel Martinez to stop, but he allegedly refused and climbed on top of Jocelyn and then strangled her. The prosecutor also said that Rangel Martinez reportedly said to his accomplice that he had to finish what he started, as he covered the young girl's mouth during the brutal attack. Now, Rangel Martinez admitted to tying Jocelyn up and tossing her body in the bayou, but claimed he did not kill her. Now, Pena Ramos, also accused of killing the 12-year-old girl, claimed he only kissed Jocelyn and has denied any wrongdoing. Well, needless to say, these two gentlemen are not going anywhere. They have a $10 million bond set because obviously they are a flight risk, right? If you are facing spending, the rest of your life in prison or possibly the death penalty, and you could walk away, of course you would. So at least they didn't get a PR bond, as they would possibly in some jurisdictions. No, I'll probably be a little facetious there, but, it got a little crazy there for a while when they were letting the bad guys out on bonds that were just outright offensive to most of the members of the community. So the prosecutors alleged that these two men lived in the same apartment complex as Nungaray. They followed her to a nearby 7-Eleven shortly after she snuck out of her house on June 16th and asked her then for directions. While at the convenience store, Nungaray called her 13-year-old boyfriend, who later reported he heard her talking to two adults. The suspects then allegedly lured Nungaray under a bridge where they stripped her naked to the waist and then sexually assaulted her for 2 hours, according to court records. Now, Pena Ramos and Rangel Martinez also allegedly bound Nungaray's hands behind her back during the assault, and they strangled her and then dumped her body in the bayou. This is where it also gets interesting. Just 2 days after Nungaray's body was found, police allege that Pena Ramos cut off his ankle monitor. That's right, his ankle monitor that he was fitted with when he crossed the border illegally in El Paso, Texas on May 28th. I'll just leave it there, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, that discarded ankle monitor was found last Wednesday. Now, he apparently also allegedly asked his employer at a construction site for some extra cash so that he could skip town. Probably the reason why that $10 million bond is set. Anyway, horrific situation, bad case, has lots of implications. Obviously, people were going to use this for political purposes as well, but the reality of it is it doesn't matter what political side you're on. You don't go around kidnapping, raping 13-year-old girls and then dumping their body in the bayou. You just don't do it. That's wrong everywhere. All right. Next on the docket, is Alec Baldwin actually going to get his case dismissed? Well, we brought you the motions hearing last week. The whole issue, or one of the issues that Alec Baldwin's attorneys are arguing for, is that, hey, the prosecutors in this case turned the gun over to the FBI. The FBI was going to do their function test to make sure that the gun was in fact a functioning firearm. And normally when they do a functioning test, the firearm experts, they take it through the procedures of cocking the gun, make sure it fires and things of that nature. And they oftentimes shoot and expel a round down range at a firing range to make sure that it can expel it. They will also do various function checks, particularly if there's an allegation that the firearm malfunctioned, as Alec Baldwin has so alleged. I've seen this in a case. They will beat the bloody hell out of this. They take literally a rubber mallet and they whack it in all different directions. Well, in this particular case, apparently the FBI was whacking it and it broke into 3 different pieces. All right? And that was one of the reasons why the case for Alec Baldwin was originally, and they had the charges dismissed. And then they refiled. Why? Because they were able to put Humpty Dumpty, i.e. the gun, back together again. Now, this issue came up in the Karen Reed case as well, and the judge allowed it in. Hence the reason why I don't think the judge is going to dismiss the case. The gun expert from the FBI can explain what took place. The prosecutors can explain what took place through the expert witness. And they can say, yes, we broke this thing, but we fixed it, and it will go to its weight, not its admissibility. All right? It wasn't exculpatory evidence because all the pieces were still there. The defense could have looked at it, or probably should have looked at it beforehand. The case that I had, we demanded that we look at it first when we had a firearm issue, and because we didn't want them whacking it and possibly breaking it or adjusting what is possibly broken in the firearm. So I find it highly unlikely that the judge is going to throw this out, basically saying it's a destruction of exculpatory evidence, because the evidence is there, the experts can testify to it, and the defense can cross-examine and have their own expert testify to this. Now, this trial is coming up rather quickly, so we are going to bring it to you. Now, Alec Baldwin faces 18 months in prison if he is in fact convicted. Now, some people, I mentioned this the other day, said, no, Scott, he's not going to go to prison. He's Alec Baldwin. Well, that's probably what Hannah Gutierrez thought too. I'm not going to prison. I'm Hannah Gutierrez. I'm an armorer. Well, somebody died when it was preventable. And guess what? I think if Alec Baldwin is convicted, he faces the real possibility of going to prison. And remember, the case isn't that different from the one for Hannah Gutierrez, except Alec Baldwin made a lot of different statements throughout this whole thing. Oh, I didn't pull the trigger. It just went off. Couldn't have happened. It's everybody else's fault but mine. He went out there and told American people on TV that he didn't pull the trigger. I'm telling you, if you go back and look at my videos, we've done lives where I brought in my antique firearm, very similar to this. This thing did not just go off. So, Alec Baldwin, we give you the presumption of innocence. I wish you well at trial, as I would any defendant when the resources of the entire state of New Mexico comes down on you, as well as the FBI and things along, and all those other sundry organizations that are trying to convict you. But you shouldn't have been so cocky early on. There's 2 types of people in the world, Mr. Baldwin, those that are humble and those that are about to be. And I think that you are going to be humbled, no doubt indeed. Next, will somebody actually be charged for the death of Matthew Perry? That's right, Matthew Perry, the actor from Friends that everybody knows. Apparently, people close to the investigation say that his ketamine death investigation is near its conclusion, and that multiple people may in fact be charged. Now, the U.S. attorney who has been handling this case has basically said that no comment. And as you may recall, Matthew Perry died last October at the age of 54. His manner of death was ruled accidental. An autopsy report, however, in December showed that he died from acute effects of ketamine, with other contributing factors including drowning, coronary artery disease, buprenorphine effects, referencing a medication used to treat opioid use disorder. Now, in December, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner closed its investigation into the death. And then in May, the Los Angeles Police Department has stated that after the medical examiner releases its report, the LAPD began an investigation into the circumstances of his overdose death. Then in May, investigative sources with the Los Angeles Police Department had stated that the department had been working with the Drug Enforcement Administration, the United States Postal Inspectors, in an attempt to ascertain where the ketamine that killed Perry came from. The law enforcement investigation on that began back in December. Now, Perry was, in fact, undergoing ketamine infusion therapy at the time of his death. And a year before his death, he opened up in his memoir that he wrote about his struggles with addiction. And so we'll have to see if the United States Attorney can actually do this. Now, I hate to admit that I did a trial recently, distribution of drugs resulting in death of a minor. Charge that they don't bring very often. There usually has to be significant, overwhelming evidence because they have to show that the drugs came from the defendant and it went to the deceased and that it was in fact the cause of death or contributing factor. But you really got to show that it was the cause of death. In the case that I recently tried last year, it was a case where it was alleged that my client or another person close to them distributed drugs, fentanyl, to a minor, and the minor went home, used the drugs, and died. And when you have the resources of the entire United States government coming down on you, it can be pretty amazing what they can find out. The significance of that particular charge, if charged by the United States Attorney, is that it will carry a mandatory minimum of 20 years to life in prison. It means a minimum 20 years to life. So, significant cases, all right? Very serious cases. And depending on the U.S. Attorney's Office, they start at the minimum. Sometimes you can get below, but if it's a high-profile case, if it was something in the news, everybody wants to show how tough they are on drugs and crime. Guess what? They will say 20 years. So you go to trial, because I can get 20 years by going to trial and losing, and I might as well have an appeal. So something to think about. Next on the docket, a judge goes wild. Yeah, this judge, classy dame, isn't she? Yeah, she's a judge in Georgia. Her name is Christina Peterson, and she's been removed from the bench after she was allegedly videoed hitting a police officer. That's not really a good look for a judge, is it, ladies and gentlemen? Well, the Georgia Supreme Court ruled that Judge Peterson has broken multiple codes of judicial conduct policies since she has taken office. The Georgia Supreme Court agreed that her removal was warranted after her last little escapade. Now, the hearing found that the director proved by clear and convincing evidence 28 of the 30 counts alleged that Judge Peterson violated the Code of Judicial Conduct and that discipline is authorized under the Georgia Constitution for 20 of those 28 counts. And yes, guess what? The police found the body cam footage of her refusing to obey with the police. I mean, check this out. Is this really what we want on the bench? Someone that conducts themselves in this manner? I don't think so. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, judges are public officials, public servants. They're supposed to do it better and cleaner than everybody else. They shouldn't even put themselves in a situation where they could possibly get arrested, let alone get arrested, and be completely abusive to the police officers. That attitude, this judge, now former judge, yeah, good luck trying to find a new job, Judge. We'll see. Wish you luck. We'll see how things go. But as a judge, you're supposed to know better. I really have little to no sympathy for this conduct and the sense of entitlement. Like she knew this was going to be no big deal because she's a judge. Yeah, think again, Judge. And next, one of my favorite defendants. I say this jokingly, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get all fired up and, berate me in the comments. Sarah Boone. Now, remember her? She is accused of murdering her boyfriend, Jorge Torres, by zipping him inside a suitcase where he ultimately died. Now, she maintains that Mr. Boone's death was an accident after a night of drinking. Hey, I know. Let's get drinking. It'd be really interesting. Let's see if you could get in that suitcase and I could zip you up and it'll be funny. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, until he died. Miss Boone has had a bit of a problem actually getting her case to trial. What do you think? What would be complicated? Is it that complicated of an issue? No, it's not. But she is now on attorney number 8 because all the attorneys have withdrawn. apparently she's a little difficult to deal with. I've had clients like this. I've had clients where the courts asked you, would you please represent this particular individual? And you say, sure, Judge, I'll give back. I believe in everybody getting services, legal defense are entitled to it under the Constitution. I will take this appointment, Judge, because I'm here for you. And at a certain point, you're just like, I can't deal with this person. Life is too short to deal with this particular person. Anyway, that is what Miss Boone is doing. And she's making her life she's making the lives of her court-appointed attorneys completely miserable to the point where now she is on attorney number 8. I would say, Judge, make some findings of facts and conclusions of law. That she is in fact the problem, but don't think that Miss Boone is going to go along with that because she has written a 50-page letter to the court saying basically it's not me, it's them. Now, she states in the letter, apparently, the letter focuses on one of the most recent attorneys saying that she's not being given information about the case. The letter quotes, "Why am I still not being included in my case? How much more of my case and self is being added hourly, especially after this letter gets loose to the internet, increasing the mass infection and destruction of my hopes to have a fair trial. Anything fair, my side foremost, and wondering now if my attorney drank the punch like everyone else." Anyway, Ms. Boone goes on the letter saying that she has lost faith in her attorney and admits that she has even walked out of meetings with her due to her unwarranted, uninformative, unprofessional, snotty attitude with her untruthful answers to the questions that Ms. Boone has asked. Ms. Boone says how she treats me is extremely prejudicial, hostile, and unconcerned. But Ms. Boone maintains, I am not the problem, except that I want to and should be treated fairly with respect, acting more professional than the paid. I've been doing this for 40 years professional. After so long, and in all the experience, common courtesies, customer service, and listening skills should have been acquired. Now, don't get me wrong. I have found, and at one point, I even had a court refer to me as the client whisperer to difficult clients. And the reason what it was you have to treat everybody with respect. It matters, right? If you go back to the 12 undeniable truths from life from a criminal defense attorney that I've mentioned, just be nice, be respectful, all right? That's really what it comes down to. If you can treat everybody with dignity and respect, you're going to get along, and maybe they'll listen to you. And yes, you can say, hey, I've been doing this for a long time, and this defense isn't going to fly, and I think the jury's going to... You can do that, but you can do it respectfully and say, but if you want your day in court, then let's go do it. Anyway, Ms. Boone, I think you're coming to the point where, guess what? You are not going to get an attorney for much, much longer. And that is ultimately fine in my position or my thinking. If you can't get along with anybody, everybody, yeah, don't think so. Don't think so. And then finally, our dumb criminal of the day. Take a look at this video. This is the moment when a group of armed teenagers stormed a trendy clothing store and attempted to rob the place. And of course, it's caught on video. Why? Because there's video everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. And as you can see, the three masked men were filmed arriving at the clothing and sneaker store in Toronto and demanded the employees get down on the floor. However, as they attempted to flee the store, an employee managed to grab one of the armed suspects and wrestle them to the ground. The other two thieves managed to flee the store and escape in a stolen car. Now, the two staff members then went to work on the suspect they'd caught, punching him repeatedly and throwing away his gun. Now, the thief attempted to fight back and shouts, "Let me out," as he struggles with the staff. Now, while cornered, the robber bizarrely picks up a sneaker and begins destroying it. Then, just moments before the thief is about to flee, the police department arrives on scene and takes him into custody. Now, the teenage robber has been charged with 8 offenses, including robbery with a firearm, unauthorized possession of a firearm, and a litany of theft offenses. Now, the value of the goods stolen remains unclear, and the officials have not identified the 2 other suspects as of yet, but they will. All right? Now, our young thief here, you are our dumb criminal of the day. First, I didn't even think people were allowed to have firearms in Canada. unless you're going to go hunting or something along those lines. 2, it's on video. And 3, you get caught by 2 of the store employees and you supposedly have a firearm. Oh my God, you are a punk. I could add some other language on the end there, but you are a punk. And then you got yourself arrested. And you should probably go to prison for robbing and taking people's stuff. Anyway, it just shows you, ladies and gentlemen, as I've said this before, you cannot be weak, all right? You need to be strong out there. The criminals, look, trust me, I've been representing them for 30 years. They look for weakness. They look for the store that they don't think they're going to have any problems with. They look for the house that they think the homeowner won't be armed. They look for somebody weak that they can lure under the bridge and sexually assault. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, be strong, walk around with confidence, walk around with attitude. Don't let anybody take advantage of you. And just like these store employees, guess what? They fought back. And what did the others do? They ran. They ran and they took this guy down and he got arrested. Be strong, ladies and gentlemen. All right. That is all we have for you today. First, Aloha edition from Hawaii. We'll be bringing you stories the rest of the week. And hopefully the Karen Reed verdict as well. It will be live. Whether I'm with you or not, it will be live, but I intend to be there. All right. Thanks for watching. Hope everyone has a great day. And remember, yes, the Constitution matters. Even in paradise.